waiting for a signal here, Dave. There we go. Okay, so so what we're going to do, Dave and I are going to work together. I'm going to start with a couple of, one of the things that's really cool. So this is a painting that I'm doing of a crystal piece that's in our home, and I paint a lot of objects, kind of recording our life in little pieces. So I've been doing pieces with old porcelain pieces and how light interacts with that. But I really love crystals, and we have a few in the house. And this winter hasn't been great because there's been no light coming in the windows. But so this is a study of a crystal that I did. And what's really cool for me as an artist is that the whole process of my painting is recorded step by step, brushwork by brush mark by brush mark, as I start from a blank canvas to a finished painting. And so that's one of the things that this can do is actually preserve my painting process as well as the images, like those two pieces there, the mint and bowls and the silver, whatever it is.
Chalice.
Yes. So anyway, so I'll show you how this works. The time-lapse video replays and will actually replay my painting for you. And I'm not going to be painting right now, but we're just going to play it. Dave, you let me know when you're ready to start.
Okay.
And can you see it okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks. Go ahead.
So I think Dave, your music really suits this image because we had a rehearsal last week around this time, just to check for light and everything and sound. And I didn't use this piece, we used something representational, but this really works because of Dave's music. And the image, if you look at it, is actually quite abstract. Except I hope you know that it's a piece of crystal. And my aim isn't to give a photographic reproduction of crystal, but to show you what I see when I look at what it really is about is how my brain processes light on an object, as it is in these cases. And I'm actually painting with light on the surface of my iPad, because it's light that I'm actually taking. So I'll just show you. Another thing I can do, which is wonderful, is I can copy the canvas of this painting, and then I can go to my gallery here, and I can create a new canvas. Oops. So now I have a blank canvas, and now I can go into where I was and where I copied the canvas, and I can paste that same canvas on another canvas. So I can work on it now and show you how I can expand it and so on. So the top right corner you see a little red dot, and that's actually my paint. And if I press that, I've got a whole bunch of palettes here. But if I press so this is the red. This is red from white to black at the bottom left, bottom left and top left. And if I move my finger across it, I can actually change the color. And I can go to white, or I can move it down here to the brightest red, or the darkest red, and it all records. So you can see that little rectangle is changing here. So I'm just going to put an odd color on it just to show you how the brushes work. And these are all the different kinds of brushes. You can't see what that says, but it says all the brush names are sketching, inking, calligraphy, painting, artistic, airbrushing, textures, abstract, charcoal, spray paints, touch-ups, retro, which means things like newspaper, simulates a newspaper image, and so on. So I'm going to go with just a round brush because that's more like the ones that I would use in my studio, a real brush. And I can expand the size of the brush or not. Oops. Make it a very thin brush. And I'm going to make it fairly big so you can see it. And I can make a mark on this. And I can move my canvas around by just doing that with my fingers. Whoops, see, I just put a piece of red paint in the corner. But I have a little button on the bottom left. It's an arrow that goes backwards, and I can actually take that off. And if I don't want a really bright red, if I want to just load my brush with just a little bit of paint, I can use these dials at the bottom where I'm moving it across, and I can put a lighter thing. But I'll put something quite dark so you can see it. One of the problems is you can see if you can see the color of my screen, you can see how much more brilliant the colors are.
Yes.
And unfortunately, when you put it through a digital projector, it loses some of the vibrancy. However, here we go. So here's what I can do. And I'm just doing this one with my finger right now. And then if are you going to play? Okay.
Sure.
And another cool thing is that I can put my finger anywhere on my canvas and pick up the color. So that would be as if I had my palette here and I want to take a little bit of the brown background now. So if I just hold my finger there, it actually will change to my background color. And now I can overpaint.
Brian, if you, instead of projecting, printed, would you get the original strong colors? Or
Yes.
would you get them diluted?
It wouldn't look anything like this screen here, like this projected image.
Yeah.
It would be more like my screen.
Okay.
And that's part of the challenge with this medium is that I have to work with a printer. So it's a collaborative process. After I finish my painting, I take it to a printer. I have a guy here in Parksville who will reproduce it in a variety of ways. He puts it on canvas and stretches it, or he can print it on paper like the silver piece there. And but we have to work together because the minute you move it from this piece of equipment to another, you've got to kind of line up it's almost like if you can imagine, it's like your eye test when you go in and the letters are blurry. Mm-hmm. Well, in my case, I know what the colors are, and I have to say to him, give me more blue, take a bit of yellow out of that, and let's see if and then we do little test strips and eventually come to something that I'm happy with. That's the one area of this whole process that's still evolving, and I'm hoping that in time, exactly what I have on my screen will be reproduced in any other medium, but in any other format. But
So it's like you're editing.
yes.
You're editing, and I'm also wondering, do you then need a special printer?
Oh yes, yes.
So, I mean, obviously a regular printer's not going to work.
Oh no, these printers are huge. They're longer than the piano. They're huge.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 or 4 chair lengths across, and I mean, I don't know what they cost, probably $50,000 or something. So yeah, at that stage I have to take it somewhere else. And I'm not a techie in that respect. I don't want to spend my time doing that. I want to be painting, so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So Dave, let's try, you want to try another piece that, okay, so these are, one of the cool parts about being a digital artist is that my output has grown exponentially. Mostly because I don't have to store it anywhere but here and on an external hard drive, which is like if there's a house fire, that's the first thing I'm taking out of the house. But it does allow me to be, I think it's encouraged me to be more creative. Because of course I've been painting for 40 years, I've done a lot of stuff. And I don't want to have to rent something to store my stuff anymore. I can do what I've got is in one room, and some of that didn't get moved from Ontario. So, okay, so let's try this. So Dave was talking about found sounds, that composers are using pieces of found sound in the environment. And I do the same thing. I use my camera like a sketchbook, and I record things digitally with now I can use my phone because the phones have such great cameras. And I just take shots of things that are interesting to me. And so this is a case in point. It's a landscape, sort of. It is a landscape, but it started as a photograph, and I'll just show you how that works. Oops. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so it's a bouquet upside down that was in our home, and I'm taking it and reconfiguring it. Some pieces of it are actually still present, so I will show you close up that you can see pieces of the plants. But mostly the photographs I take don't have anything to do with the final image. It's just, I've learned to trust in that my eye is seeing things, I'm recording it in my sketchbook/camera, and that in time I will go through my photographs and something will grab me, and then I'll say, I think there's a painting here of what I don't know, and that's how it works. So here's another. I can't remember what this photograph was about. I think it was also flowers, but it's definitely a landscape. And yes, it's a detail on a very old piece of porcelain from the 19th century that we have. And I just took some close-up shots of it, of the hand-painted flowers on it. And that's how that is evolved.
Why did you start with the bouquet? Was that
because I just
colors? Or?
Yeah, it would be like noticing on my palette that there's some colors I really like, and those are the ones I want to make my painting with. Just something like that. Some harmonious color, or.
Is this growing sort of worldwide?
Well, it is. It's interesting. Yeah. When I started 4 years ago, there weren't that many people, and now there are online art galleries. I was telling Dave about this, that, and I was telling David Welsh, my guest here, that, yes, so you can I can upload my videos and my images, digital images, and people are now buying art online through this international gallery, art gallery, that strictly deals in this kind of work, and you would buy a limited edition of these pieces, which you would then be able to project on your 4K television set as a live painting. You don't own the copyright, but you own number 1 of 100 of these that are then sold through this art gallery for me. And I was telling David Welsh that the cost at the initial stage, if you get in on the edition when it's like 1 of 100, you get it at a much cheaper cost than you would if you're buying number 99 of the 100. And once the edition is sold out, the art gallery online actually resells my work for me, but of course it's going to be at a higher price. So it's kind of like investing in art, and it's very popular with young people because they do not want to have a hard copy necessarily. They're all living in 400 square foot loft condos, and they're on the move because of their jobs, and want to be mobile, but maybe they do want to invest in art. So this is kind of a whole new thing that's happening. Kind of interesting. It is fascinating. It's fun at 68, to be just involved in it.
Yeah, discovering something completely new and trendy, really, with this new generations that are happening that can't buy big houses and
That's right.
450, 500 square feet.
Yes. And it's also, for me, it's really cool. My mother is 93, my father is 95. They live in Ontario. And of course, they're not mobile. They will not probably ever make a trip here again. But my mother is now, she bought an iPad 3 years ago. And she went onto Facebook so she could see what's happening with all of us. Me, her son in Big BC, and her grandsons in Southern Ontario. And so she gets to watch my process. And it's really interesting because she will comment on things that I'll paint something and I'll post it on Instagram the next day, and she will make some comments about it. Very positive. So that's very encouraging. Not only is it appealing to young people, but I think, it's really, really cool. So we better do something. Shall we go back to the one that we talked about before?
Sure.
Oops.
Which one was that?
I think it was at the bottom of the list. Okay, Dave, you like to, oh, I know what it was. It was the painting. Okay, so I'm also interested in artists that are gone, like Norman Rockwell or Jackson Pollock, who did all those sort of paintings where it was all very abstract, and he just dripped. They were called the drip paintings. And so I'm collecting photographs of these people and doing some portraits of them in black and white. And this is my portrait of Jackson Pollock in the shed in the eastern part of the United States in the 40s and 1940s. There's one of his paintings on the leaning against a wall. You probably would recognize his work if you saw it. Most people think it's, again, just a kid doing it, but there you go. Nobody had done it before him, so he's recorded his place there. And he liked to work with his canvas on the floor, and he would just literally have a can of paint and a stick and then just kind of drip the paint in all kinds of directions. And he was really associated with the Beat generation as well, the Beat poets. So, do you want me to play this, Dave, and you're gonna?
Sure.
Okay.
Is this, okay?
So I'll just let you see it first, and then I'll replay it for you.
No, don't let me see it.
Oh,
Just
okay.
do it.
All right. Let's do it again. Here we go. And then Norman Rockwell, you will know, of course. Oops. There we go. So, and this is Norman Rockwell's self-portrait. He's looking at himself in the mirror, and he's already famous at this point. It's certainly in the States, and he's been on the covers of Look and Time magazine many times. that worked well.
Yes,
That
it
was
worked
good.
Very
I
well.
just wanted to ask, is Brian, as the artist, is the librettist? And are you following his work? Or which different stuff? Did you compose your music after seeing the painting process?
Yes.
But you
I
didn't write it down though, did you?
No, it's not really composed, it's just, I'm doing what he does when he looks at a picture and then starts from somewhere. I'm doing the same thing.
So as it,
Well,
Yeah,
Dave, from what I understand, visually you're taking in what I do, and it's coming
Yeah.
through your fingers,
Okay.
right? He's responding, his body's responding physically to how my finger had moved across the screen.
I'm trying to, when I'm playing that, I'm trying not to formulate too much in advance. In other words, if I see something, I'm trying to react to it. That's the ideal. There are times when that's somewhat different than that. In other words, I'm thinking, oh, this would be neat to play. You know, that I'm trying to get away from that. This would be neat to sound. This would sound good. You know, this would be clever. I don't want to be clever. I just want to be. I want to be playing in a naive sense, so that I'm seeing this is the same thing that Brian's saying. In other words, somebody else.
Would you ever think that this music, the music that is associated with this painting, would ever be recorded? And would you, if you did it another time, would it be exactly the same music?
First of all,
Actually, he did it last week. A week ago today,
Yeah.
Dave responded to the same painting, and it was very different today.
okay.
So,
I forgot that we recorded it.
we did record it, and that's the other thing, we are recording this right now. I'm recording it on my camcorder over here.
Well, two answers to that. First of all, I can't remember. If I were playing it right now, I can't remember what I just played. I don't want to remember it. I don't make any attempt to remember it. So it would, however, the answer to would it be the same? If we did it a number of times, there would be some things that would come out the same, or very close.
For instance, the gold on the frame, that I remember last week, because I remember how clever that, not clever in the sense of cute, but just that you were actually capturing the light. See, because everything I'm doing is about light, and in a sense, what you did with that gold frame of the mirror, it resonated with me, because those are sort of the acute points of light in the painting, and they're very essential. And
So that's why I was playing mostly on the white keys then.
I guess I don't know anything about music.
These are the white keys. Those are the left keys.
Now, Dave, it just struck me that you were improvising almost too quickly. Would it have been better or easier if the replay wasn't as fast, if it was a slower playback?
No, it's probably easier if it's faster,
Okay.
because it's easier to think of things. If I'm improvising, say in the jazz style, if you're improvising on a slow piece, it's harder to make it interesting. If the music is moving along at about the pace of a march, or slightly less than a march is a quarter note equals 120 beats per minute, and between 100 and 120 is about, or even 80 to 120 is about where we usually, that's the range of our usual tempos.
Right.
If I then go to a tempo of, say, 50, or between 50 and 60, that's much harder. They wouldn't be the same song, but it's still much harder to improvise something slowly. That's why when you hear pianists do that, you hear a lot of this. You know, then you hear a little melody, and then you hear like. It's all filler.
yes.
So,
I'm done.
no, that's fine. I'm also using iMovie because iPads and Apple products come with iMovie, and that's fun because it's an editing process. But it also allows me to add music to my paintings. And are
We've got to finish her up.
really?
It's a
Okay.
little bit after 12 right now.
Okay, all right. So I just wanted to show you this one then, just before they go.
Terrific.
It will play for me. What's going on here? Oh, oops. Oh, there we go. Is it playing? Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's fun because you were finding your way, and that was a really hard piece for me to do because white porcelain, like the whites are so hard, right? And it's got a white background. So I was struggling to find the right sheen on the porcelain, and that you could see how many times I had to go over that, many, many layers until I got there. Anyway.
And thank you.
My pleasure.
Sure. Go ahead.
You were saying that young people, they want to go to this type of artwork because they don't want the physical artwork. But am I correct that when they buy this, then it's coming through on their televisions?
Oh, that's one way of buying it, yes. Yes, it's not just their TV, but all of their mobile devices. So they can say, hey, I just bought a new painting. You want to see it on my phone?
Yeah.
And you want to see the video version of it? And you want to see how we painted it?
So they don't have them like hanging particularly in their, say in their...
Well, no, but quite often, although they don't have a lot of possessions, they usually have big screen TVs.
Right, so you have one.
It's in there. Yeah, and there are also these electronic picture frames now that are like screens that will play by themselves, so you don't have to use your TV.
I'm going to jump in here and say thank you very much. And we'll still be here if you want to come and ask questions. Thanks very much. See you next time. I'll be here